Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-host Cody Tanner, all the way from West Virginia. Cody, how are you on this wonderful Memorial's Day?
Yeah, it is Memorial Day, so we want to celebrate and remember the people that have served this country. Thank you very much. At work, we had our flag at half staff. It's the whole thing is, I don't understand it, but I'd be interested to learn. Half staff from sunrise to noon, and then it goes back to full staff. So I don't know what the meaning or purpose is there, but that was a good time. So I'm doing good. James, how are you?
Doing pretty good, man. Got to hang out with the family a little bit this weekend. My sister came in town with the kids, and just life kind of taking some turns in the right direction. A friend helping me prioritize my mental health and put me in a good state of mind lately, and really appreciate her for that.
Ooh, we're getting A game. James Strong back in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on tight. Hang on tight. Not like we ever got a B game. Let's be real. Let's be real.
Yeah, I just went MIA.
So we do have news about minicamp and all these things going on. So Steelers did sign minicamp tryout running back Jonathan Ward. Jonathan Ward does have a few years in the NFL already. Previously played with, who did he play with? I can't even remember. Am I thinking of the wrong Jonathan Ward?
You might be thinking of the other running back that was signed. He had a little bit more extensive.
I probably
NFL
am.
career. I think Jonathan Ward's been kind of like bouncing around practice squads a little bit. Doesn't have a whole ton of in-game experience in the NFL.
Well, it's still experience.
But a guy that's been around, though. He's been around. He knows what to do to be on a roster. And at least it's good competition for that back end. You can't go into camp with a bunch of guys that you can't afford to have banged up. Like, you need to have some guys behind them that can take some reps against some fourth and fifth string guys that it doesn't matter if they sprain an ankle because you weren't going to keep them anyway.
Yeah, listen, so, the man has touched the ball a total of 8. Hang on.
8 times.
25. It looks like 25 times in his NFL career. How many
years is that?
5.
5 years.
I knew I recognized the name. I'm not saying he was like anything crazy, but he did have 3 years with the Cardinals, 2 years with the Titans. So does have a little bit of NFL experience. Listen, his averages per yards per carry in his career is 4.1. That's fantastic. We'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Absolutely you do.
But no, so we did sign him. You have something to say about him, right? Am I wrong?
Not on Jonathan. No, more when we get into the offensive tackle talk, which is where we're going to go next. The OTAs, or organized team activities, have started. These are voluntary workouts. They are not required. Cameron Hayward is not there. That's just because of the whole, he wants a contract extension.
Yep.
There's not really like a debate or anything. This isn't necessarily a holdout. He's not required to be there, and he's not there. He wouldn't really be doing a ton if he were there anyway. They're not even in pads.
Yeah. So, he'd be walking around talking to everybody.
That's it. He might be helping some young guys with technique. That's about the most that you'd be missing of him being there. So not a big flag there. Broderick Jones getting some playing time at both left tackle and right tackle early on here. It seems that the lineup right now is Dan Moore starting on the left, Broderick Jones starting on the right, just like it was last year. And then when the second team offense goes in, Broderick Jones then switches over to left, and then the rookie first-round pick, Troy Fautanu, coming in at right tackle.
Yep.
So that kind of seems to me like that's probably the long-term plan. I haven't heard diddly squat on what the heck is going on at center. My assumption is that Nate Herbig is running with the first team because I'm hearing a lot of things about him being a good leader and people talking very positively about Nate Herbig. So my guess is that second team offense of line comes in, and we're talking Broderick Jones and the rookie center at West Virginia center. Yeah. Frazier in the middle, and then the rookie guard at right guard, and then this second team offensive line, if they go in preseason game with these guys, they're going to run the ball at will, man. It's going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, it'll be a good time. I'm excited to see Broderick take that transition back to left tackle. I expect that to happen early in the season, if I'm being honest. I don't think they're going to want to wait. I mean, it could happen before week 1, depending on how preseason, these 3 preseasons game goes. We will see. I just don't think.
I'd like to see.
Well, I mean, you drafted the first round. Yeah, you drafted the first round tackle. You want him to start. And then on top of that, I mean, I'm sure they want to see Zach Frazier get starting time as well. And I think he's one of probably most NFL ready guys we've seen come out of the draft in recent years, especially at that center position. So I'm excited to watch what he can do in preseason and see if he can fight for that starting role for sure.
Yeah, and he was the starter there for 3 years. So, hey,
he has.
Yeah, that's a guy with a ton of experience at the college level. So, should be an easier transition for him than some of the other guys.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has some exciting news to announce that were announced. I mean, you've already seen it by this point, but that's fine. We're just here to talk about it. Pittsburgh does get to host the NFL draft in 2026. That is something that we are super excited about. That is something that we cannot wait for. And that is something that more than likely James and I will both be at. I'll figure out a way to have my animals taken care of. He'll figure out a way to have his. And listen, we'll probably get an Airbnb. We'll be partying it up all the time. Like, listen, if you want to come meet us,
too, by the way.
Austin does?
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. He can come. He can come. We'll have a good time. It'll be enjoyable. I'm assuming they're gonna I haven't seen any details, but I'm assuming they're gonna do it at Heinz Field, Acrisure, whatever. I can't imagine they wouldn't do it in there. Are they going to take up a street? Are they going to do it at one of those stages?
That's the difficult thing that people are trying to figure out. Now, mind you, this is all planned out already to the public how they're doing it yet.
Yeah.
That would have been in the proposal in their bid. So they know exactly how they're doing it, but they haven't enlightened us. So, I mean, the stadium makes sense as far as housing a ton of people. If you're worried about trying to break records from how many people attended in Detroit, then you kind of need to have it somewhere where there's a ton of street access where people can be overflowing and partying in the street.
Yep.
So how that's going to go, I have no idea. Surrounding layout quite well enough to know exactly how they're going to pull that off.
Imagine they do it at PNC Park.
You can't though, because that's during baseball season, isn't it?
They need 3 days. They need 3 away games. They need, no, they'd probably have spring games or something.
Yeah, my concern with the whole thing is weather. You have to be able to have enough of it covered that the whole stage area is covered in case of raining. We're talking the end of April in Pittsburgh. It could snow.
That would be awesome. For real, that would be awesome.
It is a legitimate thing that could happen. It could be snowing during the NFL draft for the first time ever. I think that would be pretty neat. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not holding my breath for anything. But I'm just excited that it's in Pittsburgh and we'll get to be there. I will not miss that. I almost feel the same way. It's a little different. I almost feel the same way about the Cowboys game on Sunday night this year. I want to go to that game so bad, and get my cousin there because he's a Cowboys fan. But man, the fact that Pittsburgh gets to host this, it's awesome for the community. It's awesome for the economy of Pittsburgh. People are going to be introduced to Brandy Brothers, and they're going to be like, why is there coleslaw and French fries on my burger? And it's fine. It'll be a good time. So I'm excited for it, and I think it'll be an awesome time. If you guys plan on going or plan on attending at any point in the next, you got 2 years to figure it out. Let us know. We'd love to meet you, talk to you about Steelers football. So now it's time for more OTA stuff, James.
Yeah, lots going on and a lot of interviews happening. Players that you haven't talked to since January. So we're starting to hear some things. First thing on the list, Najee Harris. Last couple of years, we've been talking about how he's been getting bigger and beefier and bulkier. Well, he's slimmed down this year. He's down 7 pounds. So trying to get a little bit quicker, a little more explosiveness. Not a bad idea, especially going into a contract year. That's something that worked out real well for Le'Veon Bell when he decided to shed some weight get a little bit quicker. So
Yep.
wouldn't be surprised if that works out real well for Najee as well. He's plenty powerful enough. He didn't need to add more muscle to get more powerful. Just quickness and speed is really the biggest issue he's got. And that should be better this year with being a little bit lighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it goes the opposite direction with Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He added on weight to be more stout versus the run. Joey Porter Jr., again, a guy, I can't imagine his dad let him be weak. You know what I'm saying?
No, the kid put up 17 reps on the bench at a combine. He's strong. He's just light. Light, man.
Yeah, and that's fine. And he'll make that work. I'm excited to see what he can do because this is going to be the first year where he's starting the whole time. He doesn't have to go. Yeah. I mean, he will be the starter week 1. So I'm excited to see how if there's any level of confidence or any level of just a different style of play that we get to see from him in year 2. People always talk about the sophomore slumps or the year 2 breakouts. This could be a breakout year for him. I mean, 7 interceptions. Easily.
I wouldn't necessarily expect that, but I think with the way he played this last year, if he can come out of this season with 3 or 4 picks, but the amount of breakups he had last year, you're going to have to talk about him as a Pro Bowl candidate.
Yep.
Because he was shut down, man. His completion percentage against was lots of breakups, shutting down some of the better names on opposing teams. So I'm excited about this. Joey said that his dad was teasing him about tarnishing the Porter name by not being a good enough tackler, and that's part of why he put some extra weight on was to be better against the run like his dad was as a linebacker.
There we go.
Kind of unfair comparison, 250 versus 205, but hey, whatever it takes to motivate you to be better. I don't care what.
Yeah. We had another weight. Not weight differential, but DeMarvin Leal worked on getting more lean this offseason as well as improving his technique. Lean doesn't mean necessarily losing weight.
No.
But he's making himself more fit. He's making himself a little bit thinner, probably putting on a little bit more muscle as well. DeMarvin Leal, again, a guy that I think this year understands that he's fighting for a position now. I think last year he kind of knew there was no one going to be pushing him on the roster. This year, there's a chance. They went out and drafted a D tackle, and so DeMarvin Leal. They went out and drafted a defensive lineman. Pittsburgh's been very intricate with how they've used their defensive lineman. DeMarvin Leal has a chance of not making this team if he doesn't play well. So that's very intriguing to see. I'm excited to see that defensive tackle and defensive line rotation in preseason. I think we're going to see some interesting looks, maybe ones that we didn't expect to see. So I'm hopeful for that and excited for that. Corey Trice, not allowed full contact yet. That's somewhat concerning.
No, it's the pace of the recovery from the ACL. So he's on the normal schedule of what it normally should be recovery wise. He said he expects to be fully allowed when it's on full training camp. So when it's full pads on there, he expects to be a full collision allowed at that time.
Good.
So right now he's out there running, he's doing all the drills, but he does still have a knee brace on. So you're seeing that. Back to DeMarvin Leal for just a second. Man, I can't wait for that second and third team defensive line in preseason games because they're going to be playing with their hair on fire, dude. These guys all are going to understand between DeMarvin Leal and now the rookie that they brought in, Logan Lee. 3 guys might be fighting for like 1 or 2 spots. And they're all young and they're all athletic and they all can give you a little bit of something different. And they all need to show their best foot in camp or they might be sitting on the practice squad.
Yeah. I mean, Pittsburgh obviously hasn't released any kind of depth chart yet, but just looking at the positions on defensive line completely, you got Montravius Adams. You have Keanu Benton. I think Keanu Benton's the only sure-in at this point outside of Cam Hayward and
Larry
Ogunjobi. Yeah. Those 3 are the only ones that are in at this point. You got Braden Fajoko. You also have, I'm going down the list here. Obviously Cameron Hayward we talked about. DeMarvin Leal, Logan Lee, Isaiah Loudermilk, Dean Lowry, Could have
Yeah, and Dean, I would say, was going to be another lock for you. He's
yeah.
basically the lock number 4 guy on this. And that's where it gets interesting, right? So we got 4 guys that are basically locks. Montravius Adams is your backup nose tackle and very likely to be on. Are they going to keep 7 defensive linemen? They don't normally do that.
Nope. You
So
still
it
got
could easily be those 3 young dudes going for one spot.
Yep, Jonathan Marshall, Larry Ogunjobi, and then you got there's the other guy. What's his name? Why can't I think of it? Or maybe they released him. I can't remember. I thought there was somebody else, but there's not. All guys that I think. Okay, so after Dean Lowry, that 4th spot's up for battle.
5th.
Excuse me. Yeah,
Dean's
5th,
the 4th spot. Yeah.
5th.
Yeah.
And I think anyone could win that. Now let me clarify. Well, that's just it. There's no way with Logan. I mean, they're not going to. Logan Lee's on the team. Logan Lee's making it.
Not necessarily, man. He's a 6th round pick.
No, I think
he could end up on the practice squad. That happens all the time.
I don't think so.
I don't want it to happen.
I think if he goes to practice squad, he's picked up.
He's a 6th round guy, so you never know.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a guarantee that happens, but to me, you almost have to look at it too. Is Pittsburgh's not going to go into this season with just one nose tackle?
No, they won't.
That's not going to happen. So Montravius Adams or Braden Fehoko is going to be the guy because Loudermilk, Leal, and Lee are all too small. None of those are nose tackles, and they're not even close to it. So I really feel like if Pittsburgh does their normal 6 defensive linemen, it's those 3 guys fighting for one spot. And there's going to be 2 young guys that we're hoping we can get on the practice squad, but man, you might be beyond your time of being able to prove it.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to see for sure. Let's go ahead and talk about the other defensive back. We talked about Corey Trice a little bit. Ryan Watts, the undrafted rookie out of Tech. No, what?
No, he was a 6th round pick.
6th round pick out of Texas?
Yes. Sounds right. Yeah, Texas, I believe.
Practicing as a safety. Played cornerback, practicing as a safety. I don't mind it. He was a bigger guy, if I remember correctly. Was he not 6'1"?
Yeah, 6'3" almost. He was 6'2" and 7/8 and almost 210 pounds. I want to say it was like 208 or something. So a bigger corner, very good length. The speed was like in the low 4.5s.
4.53.
Which for a corner, which for a corner is kind of like adequate, but for a safety is good.
Yeah.
That's good speed for a safety. So I like it when they drafted him. They listed him as a defensive back, which is usually your first indication that they're not sure if they're going to play him at corner or safety, but thinking about going back and forth maybe. It might be the better home for him, and it's definitely the bigger need for Pittsburgh because beyond the top 3 guys, you're not really sure what you've got past those guys as far as coverage skills for safeties.
Yep.
So that's going to put him in some direct competition with Tristan Thompson and Miles Killebrew, and Killebrew is going to make the team. He's a Pro Bowl special teamer. But that 4th safety guy that's a true safety, the non-Killebrew, could be a fun battle there. And exciting to see, man, because they really haven't been addressing that position in the draft. It just hasn't really been happening.
Yeah, well, not only that, we also haven't seen a whole lot of competition in that room. It's been Minkah and the number 1 guy at the other side. There's always been a clear number 1, whether it was Terrell Edmonds, whether last year I feel
O'Neal and KZ.
Yep, and you had don't get me wrong, sure you had the combination of them, but that was just a scheme fit depending on the formation. I want to see some competition in that room in the offseason to see what we can get because I feel like that strong safety position hasn't had a whole lot of strong prospects. And I know that I was super hard on Terrell, but at the same time, I felt like what we've come to experience out of guys like Ryan Clark, even back I felt like even Chris Hope was underrated during his time. I just felt like we were spoiled a little bit with always knowing who that guy was. But now, like, I felt like Troy could be Troy when he played with us because of the guys like Ryan Clark and because of the other guys on the team. I feel like Fitzpatrick hasn't been able to be Fitzpatrick. You know, Minkah can't go out and Minkah because he's got to play safety ball, which is ironic, because of the weakness we had on the other side.
Yeah, and last year it was like double down. We didn't have great safety, and we only had one corner that was any good.
Yep.
So not only was he having to cover up for the fact that the other safety wasn't all that great, he's having to double team with whoever Pat, Peter, Levi Wallace is on because they just couldn't hang with their guys.
Yep.
So, yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's so important that we finally get that strong safety position nailed down, and with somebody young, preferably, that can be there for a while.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, Ryan Watts could be the guy. How fun would it be to have TJ Watt, Ryan Watts? You got Russell Wilson and
Roman Wilson, Peyton Wilson.
You got Nick Herbig and Nate Herbig. We're just matching the names up. That's all we're doing, man.
Yeah, man.
No, it's a good
It's
time.
all for aesthetics.
Yeah, all for aesthetics. Listen. Yeah, it's completely. Steelers also signed the running back LaMichael Pirine. Pirine's the guy that had. Yes.
He's got some good experience in the league. Yeah,
I remember
he's
that.
He's been on a few teams and he's played around. He's got some good quality snaps. And that is a very high quality number 4 running back. He was just released a few days before they signed him. So this is one of those things where somebody's making a reaction to getting who they wanted in the NFL draft, maybe getting a really high quality undrafted guy, releasing a veteran because of it to save a couple $100,000. And Pittsburgh looks at it and says, hey, man, maybe he makes it, maybe he doesn't, but let's bring him on board just in case we need him.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we love it. The last news we have for this episode is going to be a scouting hiring. So Pittsburgh did go out and hire a new scout by the name of Jim Noel. Jim Noel played for Boston College all 4 years, had a decent career there as a defensive back, and then went on to be most recently a Northeast area scout for the Cleveland Browns. From 2018 to 2021, he did a little bit of other things at the collegiate level between now and then, but now he comes back on as the Northeast area scout for us, for Pittsburgh. And this coming after we lost Dave Patet, who left the team earlier this season. So exciting for him. He's got some AFC North, action, knows kind of what we're looking for, knows the toughness that you need to have to be in the division. And then obviously has played a little bit in the NFL, spent some time on the Seattle Seahawks for probably less than a year, I think maybe a year. I haven't got those details right in front of me this time, but new scout hired for Pittsburgh. So
yeah, I'm encouraged by the fact that his background is playing in the secondary at safety, because those guys usually know a little what it takes to be successful at that position. With his scouting area being in the Northeast region, he'll have Clemson and some other places up in there, Rutgers, where he might be able to see some stuff. He might even end up with Penn State on his area of responsibility. You never know. But I like it. I like it a lot because just as we were just discussing with the safety room, we're looking for pieces still. I think Pittsburgh's going to be looking at safety and corner again in the draft next year, quite possibly. Corner very likely. Safety possibly as well. So give me as many scouts that know what to look for in defensive backs as possible, man. I want to see those guys because we need to land on a couple more of them to round out this group and get a nice formidable secondary to be able to stop these high-power quarterbacks, these 2 high-power quarterbacks in the AFC North.
Yeah.
There aren't 3.
Yeah. No, there's not 3. The one's something. We're not going to do that. Again, thank you guys so much for listening or watching if you're here on YouTube. Remember to subscribe on YouTube. Remember the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Will make this guy next to me very, 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 very happy. Happier than he already is. Well, I'm not going to talk about that. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. It's free. Don't cost you a thing. And until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, signing off.
Peace.